the good life.
Hey guys, welcome to my kitchen. Another big day today. It's always a big day in my kitchen, isn't it? Today we're gonna make fried ricotta cheese balls. These things are gonna be delicious. And if you guys remember, a week ago we actually made fresh homemade ricotta. Not a week ago, a couple days ago. So what I did was that recipe that I made, this is it right here. So we've got a little over 2 pounds of fresh ricotta. And if you remember, I gave you a recipe that's gonna give you a really creamy, great tasting ricotta with a little bit of salt. We put some nutmeg in there, absolutely delicious. So certainly, obviously, ricotta, fried ricotta cheese balls, that's gonna be our main course, right? So I've got a couple of pounds of that, and I don't need to season it really too much at all. I'm gonna put an egg in there, and I'm gonna put a little pepper in there, and then we're gonna call it a day, okay? Now I've got breadcrumbs. We're gonna basically dredge the ricotta cheese, right? So I'm gonna make little scoop balls of it, right? And I'm gonna dredge it in a flour, which we're gonna season. Now, you always wanna season your flour. You always wanna season everything. You never wanna dilute anything, and you never want anything bland, because you always wanna add flavor to it. So what I did here is I put 4 cups of flour, and I've got salt and pepper inside the flour is what I put, okay? Now what I did with the breadcrumbs, I've got plain breadcrumbs, salt and pepper is what I put in there, and then I'm gonna add about a half of a cup, a little bit more of a Pecorino Romano cheese, and that's gonna give it that extra flavor. To dredge the ricotta cheese ball, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take 4 whole eggs, I'm gonna put them in a dish, and I'm gonna take 2 cups of milk, and I'm gonna put that in there. So essentially what you're gonna do is you're gonna take the ricotta cheese, you're gonna dump it in flour, then you're gonna put it in the egg batter. Again, everything's got seasoning, everything's got flavor to it, and then we're gonna put it in the breadcrumbs, we're gonna set it off on our rack, and then we're gonna fry it. So while you're kind of prepping everything, put your oil on. You're gonna fill up, I always like a high side pan, if you guys have watched my videos before, and I always like the porcelain pan. And I like the white interior because then you can see with the white contrast, you can see exactly when they're gonna be done. I'll tell you, these are gonna be delicious. And I hate to say it, you know, out in public here in my mind, but I think my ricotta cheese that I made is better than my grandmother's. I mean, that is the best ricotta cheese I've ever made. It's absolutely delicious. Hopefully I can say that, okay? All right, so that being said, let's get started. So I'm gonna take my 2+ pounds of ricotta, all right, and we want to season it just a little bit, if you remember, but we don't want to like put a lot more flavor. It doesn't need much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 2 whole eggs in this case, all right. So why am I going to add an egg? It's going to add a little bit of flavor to the ricotta, okay, which it doesn't need a lot, right? And it's going to give it a little bit more of a firm. So when the egg cooks, and I'm going to put just a little bit of olive oil in there, about 2 tablespoons. Again, give it a little bit of flavor. And then what I'm going to do is just take the ricotta cheese, and now I'm going to mix it up, okay? So now I'm going to mix the ricotta cheese with our egg and our olive oil. And while I mix this up, the oil's heating up, so we're going to save time. So I'll spend a couple of minutes, I'll mix this up, and I'll tune right back with you guys when I'm done with that. We're going to make the ricotta cheese balls. I'll show you how to dredge them, get them right in the fryer. Going to be delicious. I'll talk to you guys in a minute. Okay guys, so this just took me a couple of minutes. I just mixed it up. And if you guys can see that, if you can get right in there, see how nice and creamy? Look how nice and creamy that is. Oh, that is good stuff. Another little trick, or tip, maybe not trick, but tip, is you want the ricotta cold. So you don't want it frozen, but don't get the ricotta at room temperature, because what you're gonna do is you're gonna dredge it, and then you're gonna fry it. And the inside is gonna get hot, but you want the outside to crisp for a little bit longer before it gets the cheese, if you will, too gooey, too melted, okay? And ideally, you can't always do that, but ideally, these are really meant to be eaten pretty soon after you fry them. So once it starts to get cold, they're never really gonna taste as good, so, okay? So this is our ricotta, we're set there, okay? So let's make that dredge mixture, okay? So what I'm gonna basically do is I'm gonna take 4 eggs, whoa, there you go. We've got some locally grown organics here. Clean that up. Perfect. And eggs are such a big staple in Italian cooking. And, you know, they add flavor. They're always going to add flavor and a depth. And they add a consistency that you normally wouldn't get. You really can't get it with any other type of food. So essentially what I've got is get an egg there. All right, so I've got my eggs, okay, and what I'm gonna do here is I'm just gonna mix up those eggs a little bit. again, a lot of times people use water, and you know, one of my points is you always want, whatever you're gonna put in something, you always wanna add flavor to it. You wanna add depth of flavor to it. So if you add water, you know, water doesn't add flavor to it, it's a dilution. So if you can avoid the water, you know, in this case we're gonna add milk, you can add cream. So you're gonna just mix those eggs up, right? And then you're just gonna add that milk. And whoa, there you go. Stuff's so fresh, it's jumping right out of the bowl. All right, and then what's gonna happen here is you're just gonna have something that's flavorful, right? And I'm gonna add just a pinch of salt, which is about a quarter tablespoon, let that dissolve, okay? So I'm gonna set that aside. So now we've got our ricotta, homemade ricotta. Oh, delicious. That's all set, right? We've got our egg milk mixture. We've got our seasoned flour. And then I'm just gonna grab this right here, and this is gonna be our seasoned breadcrumbs, right? So what did I do? I added salt and pepper, and I'm gonna add some cheese, okay? And you can mix that with your hand, but look at that. And that's just gonna add that nice, delicious flavor. So everything that I put is gonna add flavor, not dilute it. Oh, that's good. Oh yeah, those smell absolutely delicious. And this is the fun part. So let me clean up my fresh milk that's jumping out of the container, okay? So I'm gonna set up what they call your dredge station, right? Your station where you're gonna batter everything up, okay? So what you're gonna do is you're gonna do this. You're gonna take your flour. Let me get everything in place here. And I'm gonna have to use my finger here, so forgive me. Oh, I'll tell you, look at that. Look at the consistency of that ricotta. How creamy that is. Oh my gosh. I'll tell you, you add a little, it's too late now, but boy, you add a little sugar to that and a little vanilla. Ho, ho, ho. You got a cannoli filling. It's gonna be absolutely delicious. Okay? So real easy. I'm gonna take a dish here and just put a little water in it for my little scooper. So you can use one of these, you can use a teaspoon or whatever. So you're gonna just take a little water, right? And you're gonna get a good scoop. Now remember, you wanna be consistent on these, primarily so that they cook at the same time, because you're gonna throw a bunch in at the same time, okay? So I'm gonna take a scoop, right? And I'm gonna pop it right in the flour, okay? Isn't that fun? Look at that, there you go, okay? So what I got, 4 going, and then what I always like to do is do the flour first. Those look kind of pretty too, don't they? Do the flour first so you don't get your hand all gooey, right? And then just make a little round with the flour. Now remember, the flour's seasoned, so you're gonna get some flavor out. Whoop. This must be fresh flour too, right? So then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna put it in the egg mixture, right? You don't want to leave it in there too long. Put it in the egg mixture, right? And then I'm going to pull it out of the egg mixture. Let me pull this in front here just for our camera. And then I'm going to bread them. Now one of the things I like to do when I bread them is I like to just give them a little bit of a flattening. So they're not perfectly round, but they're not flat. Why do I like to do that? They're just easier to handle. So how my grandmother always did it. If not, they're rolling all over the place. So give them a nice press, and don't be afraid to give them a little pressure, right? So everything you got in here is flavored. So you're gonna add this beautiful flavor. Oh my gosh! And you got the nutmeg and the ricotta, which is just gonna taste absolutely delicious, and just gives it that flavor. You got the cream, the curd. Oh my gosh! So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and do the fun. This always starts off fun, and then about an hour into it, you're kind of like, okay, I can't wait to get it over with. But I'm gonna go ahead and bread a whole bunch of these, and I'll tune back with you guys in a couple minutes. We'll start frying. Best part, we're gonna start eating. I'll talk to you guys in a minute. Hey guys, we thought we'd tune in to you. It's been about 7 hours, and I'm still at it. But look how, see how fun they are? So we've been going just here for a little bit, getting everything ready. You know, the goal here is to try to keep one dry hand, one wet hand. But when I make these, I have such a flashback of my grandmother, as we would sit just like this, you know, in a bowl with her white bowls, just making homemade ricotta and putting things together, and how much I adored that lady. in my life, how fortunate I was. So a lot of fun. So we're almost done. And we'll tune back here in a couple of minutes. And like I said, we'll fry them. And the best part, I'll tell you what I'm a real expert at, is eating them. So I'll talk to you guys in a minute. Hey guys, welcome back. All right, so here we go. That's a homemade ricotta. Oh, I tell you the smell of that. I don't mean to get you out of focus there, but okay. So now here's the trick. We want to go slow. We got oil here that's about 375 degrees. You don't want to plop them, right? And you'll notice I've got the white porcelain and the high sides, just for safety, okay? So there's a couple different ways you can do it. The safest way is just to put them in a basket, and that way you don't have to worry about it. And let me tell you, these aren't going to take long. But you know, you can't beat frying, because frying's going to sear the outside. The instant they get in there, it sears the outside, and you got those flavored breadcrumbs with the cheese in there. Oh my God, it's going to add such a great flavor. You got the homemade creamy, gooey ricotta cheese with the nutmeg and the salt and the olive oil. Oh my God. Do a couple more here. And I'm going to just let those cook. And our oil. Now see, in this case, a lot of times what will happen, your oil's going to drop in temp because you're putting something cool in there. So I'm going to crank that heat back up. Perfect. All right, so we're just going to keep, oh, look at that. And can you come over here real quick? And I just want to show you, see how nice and crispy they're getting on the outside? Oh, there's nothing wrong with that. So you want a nice brown crisp, like that one's almost there. See how that one's starting to get, if you can see that one there, that one's almost there. See that? Oh, tell you what. I'd be lying if I told you my mouth wasn't watering right now. So I'll tell you, you know the steam that comes out of them, so you can smell as they crack and split, and they let out that flavor, that aroma. And what's going to happen is they're going to start to float, which is what they're doing right now. And when they start to float, they're getting close. Just watch it when you get close, because sometimes they'll pop open because you got a lot of moisture in there, and the steam will start to build up inside. Look at that, isn't that beautiful? See how it's starting to goo out? So look at that, see the goo? Oh, that's good goo right there. That is good goo. All right, so we got a couple here that are done. So I'm just gonna set those over here. Oh yeah, that's good. But see how the cheese is frying in there? Oh, that's good stuff right there, see that? So what I always like to do is just get a nice little scoop of that, right? Set that up there. That's gonna taste really good too, so don't even worry about it. But that was my favorite. I was always trying to have those drippings there after my grandmother would pop them in. All right, so we're gonna keep going ahead here, and we're gonna cook the rest of these. And I got an army in here that's ready to start enjoying some homemade ricotta fried cheese balls. I'll tune in with you guys in a minute. Hey guys, oh, look at that, molto delizio, huh? Homemade ricotta, you can't beat it. All right, so now everything's done. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna take a little bit of salt, right? Not a lot, just give it a little extra. Try to salt it as soon as it's out, you know, or close to it, okay? So I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna hit a little pepper. Nothing's better than fresh ground pepper. Okay, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a little bit of the Romano, right? And I'm just gonna do a little braid right on there. And then I'm gonna finish that off when I garnish it, right? So I'm gonna hit this. But when it's warm, what'll happen is the cheese will hit it. And when the cheese hits it, it melts and adheres to it. You know, and you can't beat that. And you got a little bit in the breading, if you remember. So, oh, that's good stuff. Snow and cheese. All right, good stuff. All right, isn't that beautiful? Oh my God, is that delicious? All right, so I'm gonna set this aside, and everything's still pretty hot, but we wanna plate this, all right? So let me go ahead and get a plate. We'll get a little sauce, set it up on the side. Best and favorite part, we're gonna eat it. I'll talk to you guys in a minute. Hey guys, all right, welcome back. Look at this, huh? So I plated this, okay? We just took it off. It's still pretty hot, okay? All right, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hit this with a little cheese, right? Oh my gosh, look at that. Is that delicious? And then, my favorite part. You know, I was making these earlier. It just brought me right back to my grandmother's kitchen. So you're gonna hit that, see that? You've got that crust. Nice and crunchy crust on the outside. Gooey, warm, homemade ricotta. Oh my God. Can you taste that? Oh. That is, I mean, you cannot duplicate that. You know, you can get something frozen, whatever, but here, let me give you a taste right there. Here, try that puppy. Take a bite of that, huh? Look at the steam coming off. Oh. And it's got the crunch. Again, the breadcrumbs have a nice flavor. You got that cheese, a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. You got a nice marinara sauce coming off the side to complement it. And then again, that creamy, we made that homemade ricotta with a lot of heavy cream, so you got the cream and the consistency, the nutmeg, the salt. Oh my God. That is delicious. We got an army of little ones here we're gonna feed here in a minute. And they're great, right? They're a great appetizer. You set them on the side of a plate. A lot of times what you'll see, just to twist it, you can sweeten these up and actually make them in dessert. So you can take the ricotta without the salt, pull the salt off, and you can fry them and actually hit them with powdered sugar, put a little sugar within the ricotta, fry them, hit them with some powdered sugar, honey, what have you, and a little chocolate. A lot of times we'll use like a liqueur and make a dessert out of them. Absolutely delicious. So a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed spending some time with you guys, sharing my heritage and some traditions that hopefully you can set for yourself and your family. Guys, have a great week. Bon appetit. I'll talk to you guys next week.